Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I would like to discuss with you the future. How can we make our procurement future-proof? I wanted to start with a question. Is it only me, or you also have the feeling that the world has never been spinning that fast? That today we are waking up in a completely different world than it was just yesterday? If so, then how can we make sure that our processes and tools that we use in our companies, they are ready not only for today, but also for tomorrow and the next day? Unfortunately, probably there is no recipe that would fit us all, but I can tell you how we are doing this in Danfoss. On this slide, I would like to just show you that Danfoss is truly a global company. You can see here that our top 3 markets, they are located in 3 different continents that are completely different to each other as the markets there. We have almost 30,000 employees that are also very much different from each other as we embrace diversity. But still, in this very dynamic and diverse world, we want to streamline our processes and we want to make a difference. I was thinking, where should I start my story? So I thought that I would just tell you what I experienced myself. I was hired in Danfoss 10 years ago. At the first days of my work, probably I would need some office supplies, some headset, maybe a mobile phone. And then what would happen? Typically, I would be presented with a paper catalog with hundreds of pages to find my perfect pen. Probably I would be guided to IT guys so that they figure out what kind of headset I need, what kind of mobile devices I might use. So that was quite unstructured. Then typically I would get a paper invoice that could get lost. Then accounting would be involved, probably not too happy. So basically, if I shall show you on one picture the story that we had 10 years ago, I would share this picture. Basically, lots of freedom, little governance, and lots of risks. We knew that we needed to change. We started our digital transformation. On this slide, you can see here our ambitions and our goals that we had at the beginning of our journey. There are 4 simple icons that we have chosen to focus on. Firstly, we knew that we need to provide our users digital experience. It means that we need to provide to them a tool, but also the knowledge, how to use the tool and why it is important. Then we knew that we cannot do this together. We need to do this together with a strong network of our suppliers that provides us those products. Also, we didn't want to be like Titanic, that was big and slow. We are big, but we need to be speedy in our decisions, but also in all the innovations that are available. And lastly, our ultimate goal was to have only one place to order any indirect materials or services. And this is how we started our transformation. You already have the feeling where we were at the starting point and what are our main pain points, what we needed to change. Where we are now. In 2016, we implemented SAP Ariba platform to cover indirect procurement, both services and materials. What we achieved with this platform are many, many benefits. You can see here the main ones. Firstly, we have one point of entry, one-stop shop for every indirect purchasing in Danfoss. This is a cloud intuitive platform with single sign-on, because who else needs more passwords and logins these days? We also incorporated in SAP Ariba quite advanced automated approval flow, which is giving us a lot of compliance, but it's also very flexible and we can adjust it to our needs. From unlimited complexity in every sense, we move to reduced complexity in the tool, but also in the processes for our procurement department, but also for our end users. Also, our procurement department is very satisfied with the way that we manage our indirect purchasing right now, because they gained full transparency. Since we have only one place to order any indirect, then we can easily access all the different reports, and the data is not fragmented. We also achieved very great consolidation over spend and supplier database. I can give you just one example. Before Ariba, with one of our MRO suppliers in France, we had a turnover yearly 50,000 euro. Just with implementing this platform, SAP Ariba, and opening up the easy catalog, we have gained 500,000 of yearly spend over. So the change is significant. And then we have one way of purchasing worldwide, regardless if this is China, if this is Poland, or if this is Mexico. This is where we are right now. Some numbers I can share with you. Currently, we have SAP Ariba implemented in 43 countries. We are still in the journey of implementing Ariba to all our sites. Currently, we have 300 catalogs that are available to all our users. And you can see that we have pretty many Ariba users. At this point, it is 12,000, but the number constantly grows as, for example, this year, later on in the autumn, we are heading to China and India. So this will rise significantly. And we have millions, really millions of items available to all our users to be purchased already here and now whenever needed. Then a little bit about our cooperation between Markit and Danfoss that Margus mentioned. Markit is with us on this Ariba implementation from the very, very beginning. It was one of the first suppliers that we invited to Ariba network, and actually for a very long time it was the only supplier that provided to us punch-out level 2, which is the most advanced catalog in Ariba that is available right now. Really not many suppliers can provide such a complex solution. In Ariba, we are using two different types of user access, which gives us really great flexibility, but also control that we have over the items that we allow users to spend. So when a user connects to Ariba, SAP Ariba platform, they will see only favorite lists. So our IT will choose what type of, for example, webcams, or what kind of accessories should be visible to our all users. But of course, our procurement and IT, they have a full access. So basically, they can order everything. And what is also very cool is that very easily we can manage the favorite list. We can basically, in few minutes, add or remove items from that list. Currently, we have 30 countries connected to Ariba Punch-Out, but along with our journey, of course, this number will also grow. The same with purchase orders. Last year, over Ariba network, we have sent over 8,000 purchase orders. But obviously, you can imagine when we connect China, this number will rapidly grow. And very honestly, I can tell that from my perspective, from operational procurement perspective, and from category management, we all share the feeling of 100% satisfaction in any aspect of our cooperation with Markit. Then how this magical place look like? Here you can see just a screen of our front page. This is what our users will see when they just connect from the browser with a single sign-on to Ariba. We call it in Danfoss My Shop. You can see here that there are some categories, main categories. Obviously, not everything we can put in the catalog, so our users will also have the possibility to order non-catalog items that are called ad hoc. Of course, then when the users want to browse more through the categories, they can expand the tree of those and go more inside. How the system works. I would like to show you a demo of how to spend money very quickly. Let's say that I want to order a USB hub. I put it in the search box. I just press enter, and I am presented with an items that were pre-approved by our IT department. I choose whatever I want, what looks nice and might be suitable for me. And by clicking from supplier, I will be directed to Markit site that you well know. I choose the item that I want, probably the cheapest price. And what I do is that I transfer items back to Ariba from Markit online shop. And then I will just need to enter some data, very little data, because everything should be already predefined. I will put the delivery date that I need, and I will also choose purpose. This purpose is connected with our GL accounts so that we secure also proper accounting. And basically, that's it. Nothing more. I will just press the button submit, and in few seconds, this order will actually be already on Markit site, as this is low value and we don't, for this case, don't have any approval flow. It will be just sent to Markit. How cool is that? Then I would like to focus on what I personally try to enhance in Danfoss. These are those catalogs. As you could see here, Markit was one of the catalogs that I showed, but of course there are also different categories like office supplies, production, marketing. And in Danfoss currently we are working very much to enable to all our users globally as many catalogs with as many products as possible. Why? Why we put so much efforts on this? You can see here that I divided the benefits of catalogs into 3 chunks, because different groups of people, they have different interests, of course, and therefore they have also different benefits. From end users' perspective, they finally don't need to Google for things. They don't need to find in any browser or any online shop what they need. They just go to Ariba, My Shop platform, they use the search box, and they are confident that the items that are there are approved, and also that they are using approved suppliers, so full compliance. There is also a very easy interface, as we know from our private life. And obviously, if they are choosing items from the catalog, the risk of wrong deliveries is very low. Then from procurement perspective, as I have provided you one example, our catalogs, they provide accelerated supply consolidation. And this is also a really great benefit because we consolidate a spend to our approved suppliers. There is also reduced risk with authorization groups because we can also create groups per category. For example, we have group for IT authorization that can manage everything before it is available to our users. And since this is just one way to purchase indirect items globally, the spend visibility is also very much improved. And from operational procurement, this is also very interesting, that with those catalogs, we can make indirect procurement almost humanless. You could see here on the demo that I showed you that it took 1 minute just to order an item, and basically then no procurement specialist was involved. Cost center manager was only a watcher to be notified. So by implementing catalogs, we can significantly reduce the work that actually is not value adding. Those resources we can move to category management, to some optimization processes, and just utilize them best. Also, a very nice feature in Ariba is that they provide automatic order confirmations, because our users, when they order something, obviously they want to have the confirmation that the order was sent, it will be delivered, and when it will be delivered. When we send orders via Ariba network, our suppliers can send us this confirmation, and our users, they will have access all the time, anytime needed when they connect to My Shop. So there is no need to store all the emails. They can just connect and check when the order was confirmed. Also, one of our quite a big pain points were blocked invoices. When we ordered something as a non-catalog item or over a phone or even a fax, I remember those days, we have experienced quite many blocked invoices, which is also quite the work that basically nobody likes because it produces lots of frustration. So these are the benefits, the main benefits that we gain from our catalogs, and this is why we put so much effort on this right now. When we implement Ariba in a new country, we implemented the tool, the platform that I showed you. But it's not only the tool that we implement, it's also the processes that we change during the implementation. The feature that I referred at the beginning is approval flow. We have created quite advanced and fully automated approval flow. In this approval flow, our cost center managers, either they can be only a watcher to be notified that the spend was created if it is low value, or they will be just approval flow, of course, with all the DOP needed, depending on the value of the order. Additionally, for some more sensitive categories, we have created the groups of people that should also sometimes either approve or be a watcher. For example, personal computers, PC. For us, we consider this as a quite sensitive category. Therefore, we created an approval groups. And you can see here just a box, so the second gray box. Behind this box, there are actual names of people or just mailboxes, depending on the country of the purchase of the user. And we can have, for example, approval flows also for oil and chemicals, if there is such need in a particular country, or sometimes our IT guys, they are watchers actually on every purchase that is categorized as a IT hardware. Approval flow we developed at the beginning of creation of Ariba, or to customizing Ariba to Danfoss need, and basically now we just copy-paste this to all countries where we go with this platform. And then, if only I knew, we implemented Ariba for the first time 6 years ago. We started in Denmark first. And obviously, during those years, we have learned quite a lot. I wanted to share with you some lessons that we learned on Ariba. First and foremost, end users awareness, motivation, and the training is really a key success factor. We can provide to our users really the greatest tool with as many catalogs possible. But unless they are aware that they should use it, that they know how to use it, we will not have success. And this takes time and some effort, but if we educate them at the beginning in a proper way, we explain them why it brings so much benefits to Danfoss, then it's just taking all the benefits from this. Second, strong partners and network as such is really essential. We knew that we will need to have a network of our suppliers that will connect to Ariba network. This is why we also has chosen Ariba network, because it is the biggest network between buyers and suppliers. So we knew that we needed very strong supplier and relationship with supplier. But also Ariba implementation is very much cross-department, I would say. We need to have really great cooperation between purchasing, between IT, between also accounting. As you could see, accounting is also integrated into that tool. And all those parties need to work together in order to build a system, the platform, that will suit all the needs of the company. Then short-term sprint. Yes, at the beginning when we implemented Ariba the first time in Denmark, I must say that was exhausting, a really exhausting challenge. We needed to take so many decisions without really knowing the consequences, the real consequences of those decisions. But that was, let's say, one-time effort. We prepare the tool, we customize this, and now basically what we do is that we just almost copy and paste this to all our countries where Danfoss is located. At the beginning, the first implementations were quite, I would say, emotional because we were not 100% sure if we set up everything correctly, if all the people will have access as needed. But now all the implementations are almost relaxing, because now, as I told you, it is almost just a copy-paste, the setup that we have created into new countries. Then focus on user satisfaction and automation possibilities. I put them together because actually they are very much connected to each other. Our users, they don't want to spend lots of time on finding this headset that they want and ordering. So we try also to automate as many processes, as many tasks as possible. You could see on the demo that, for example, we needed to choose need by date, so delivery date. We are looking, for example, if we could maybe skip it or maybe set something as a default. In the reports that we can see from Ariba is that majority of our users, they just put tomorrow, right? Because if you order something, you want to have it tomorrow on your desk. What if we just default this for tomorrow and then voila, one click less? This is why we connect user satisfaction with automation. And last but not least, constant learning means constant adoption. The system that I showed you on the beginning that we have today is a little bit different than it was those few years back when we implemented Ariba. And we are aware that the system will develop. Not only we want to develop, but the platform as such, SAP Ariba, will develop, and we just need to keep up. We, of course, want to keep up. Obviously, we also need all our suppliers to keep up with us. If, for example, the next quarter Ariba releases a new type of catalog that is available and brings even more benefits to us, obviously, we will follow this, but we will need to have all our strong relationship with our suppliers so that they can dedicate their resources to go there with us. And obviously, they will also like to go there with us. What last year taught us is that we need to digitalize to survive. We cannot live now in a world that is not digitalized. But I would say that it's not only digitalized to survive. Now it is digitalized to thrive. We want to utilize all the possible features, all the possible tools that we can have that are available on the market. And we also invest money, invest time into this just to get ahead. Because we believe that this is the future, and this is the way to do this. Thanks a lot. That's all from me.
Okay, thank you for that, Joanna. That was a fantastic presentation.
Thank you, my pleasure.
And what I thought was really great, I think the content is extremely timely. In many ways, you look at different procurement organizations around the world, digital transformation seems to be on the tips of almost everybody's tongue. And I think that what you've done at Danfoss, you've really been a pioneer in that respect.
Yes, thank you. That's really nice to hear.
And I see from our point of view at Markit that we get more and more customers and potential customers contacting us on a regular basis. And it's really increased in the last while, inquiring about punch-out integration and digital transformation. So I really hope that the presentation is extremely relevant also for the viewers today.
Thank you.
The second thing I wanted to talk about is just, wow, the journey that you've taken. You're obviously very long way on this journey.
Yes.
And looking at some of the numbers today, 30 countries, 300 catalog integrations.
Yes.
12,000 plus users. You're obviously, a very long way on this journey. But something tells me that you're not done yet.
Oh, I believe that we will never be done. This is just a lifelong experience and lifelong knowledge. So obviously we are developing, but I would say I would maybe divide this development into two pillars. One is obviously geographically, right? Because we have started a few years ago, but Ariba is not implemented in all the countries that Danfoss exists. And I can tell you, for example, that this autumn we will implement Ariba in China and India. So this will increase very much our coverage. And then successfully we have more and more countries, more and more sites planned, because actually we are implementing SAP Ariba together with SAP HANA, right? So this is why we have really a huge program in Danfoss called 1ERP, and this is how we develop indirect procurement. But the second thing, it's not only that we want to just put the tool into the place, we are looking at the tool itself. And right now we are focusing very much on automation. I briefly also shared this, that we want to automate as many steps, processes, whatever is inside indirect procurement. We are doing this partially by customizing the system, so what I just mentioned, but we are also very much looking at robots. We are also implementing robots that can actually do the thing that nobody wants to do, right? Because it's not any satisfaction to do the things that are repeatable, that are not bringing the value. And this is why we are hiring robots for indirect procurement. Okay,
very cool, very interesting. I also couldn't help but to notice on one of the slides where you mentioned 100% satisfaction. So with a wee bit of pride, maybe
yes.
Coming from Markit, maybe you could explain a few words what's behind that.
John, when you ask me this question, we can stay here until late evening, me giving the preach, because personally, as I mentioned, Markit with us on this journey from the very beginning. And I can say that you saved us many times because that was a new platform for us. And sometimes actually I could learn from you, from all your great guys working there in integration team. But I have worked with quite many suppliers already, and they are different scenarios. Sometimes suppliers, they have all the knowledge, they are very IT-oriented, and they know how to do things, which is obviously the fundament of this. Some suppliers, they maybe don't have this willingness, or they don't have this IT knowledge, but they have the willingness. And to make it work, I need to see them both, and you are one of not very many suppliers that can combine both knowledge, how to do this, but also the full willingness. I know that whenever I will request some support, some help, or whatever country that we implement Ariba, you will be there with us. So that's really relaxing from me to just cooperate with you.
Super, that's fantastic. Fantastic to hear from you. Back early on, I was one of the first account managers working with Danfoss here in Poland. So it's really amazing to see how far it's come. I think the steps, like I mentioned, are really revolutionary. And knowing a bit about your business, and if I understand, up to date, you've got 3 main business divisions with a number of entities or companies in a number of markets. Global coverage, and so that almost has to be kind of a matrix type of approach. And I also know in your rollout, you've sometimes rolled out into countries, but maybe not with certain companies. Maybe you could shed a little bit of light on your strategy and your approach in terms of your global rollout.
Yes. So ultimately, Ariba will be enrolled in any location, any division, any part of Danfoss. But of course, it takes time. Right now, for example, let's take China as an example. In China, we are planning to implement Ariba in 8 company codes and more or less 20 plants. So this already gives some complexity. But actually, from a catalog's perspective, it reduces complexity because from my perspective, we enable just one catalog for China that will be visible to all those 8 company codes and 20 plants, and we just do this once. We just set one catalog for China. If there are some divisions that for some reason, this reason, they should not get Ariba at the moment where we go there, then for a time we keep a parallel solution. So those Ariba users will just go to our catalog via Danfoss site My Shop. Some will take still the, let's say, old way, but ultimately we will cover Ariba with all the company codes that we have.
Okay. And IT being IT, there's a very dynamic rotation and change in different products. There's different localizations. I've got to imagine one fairly significant challenge would be standardization of products across a number of geographical locations.
Yes.
How did you approach this?
Actually, you allow us to approach this because, as I also briefly showed, that we have those 2 different user groups in Ariba. So our IT department, we have IT people regionally, sometimes locally, depending how big the country is for us. They are managing something that we call favorite list. And on this favorite list, they, let's say, browse through all your catalog and show that, okay, this webcam should be fine. We will allow this to purchase for all our users. But especially last year, we could see that we need to be very flexible. And our IT guys, they could just in 2 minutes, let's say, open more webcams to our users. So this is how we manage this.
Okay. So maybe one last question before we go. Looking at the number of users, I think you mentioned 12,000 plus users. Maybe a quick lesson learned in terms of onboarding, because I know that's always a challenge in terms of culture change with users.
Yes.
Any advice that you could give to us?
This also changed. It needed to change last year because before pandemic, what we did is that before we implemented Ariba in the location, we just tried to go there to users, to all the people, gather them and provide them a training. Not really a long one, because you could see that this platform is more or less intuitive, but we wanted to see and to make, also this relationship between our users and our procurement department. Now, obviously, we are not allowed to see each other. So before we implement Ariba at the beginning, we provide the users, of course, virtual training. So our people from operational procurement, they gather all the users and provide them a live training. But obviously we have created many, not only SOPs, but actually now we are doing more videos. So sometimes, for example, I know somebody shall create a split accounting. So divide the cost of the order into multiple cost centers. If this is not straightforward, then we can just provide a video, 30 seconds, 1 minute. We have a stream, all the videos that we have divided into different user groups, because some users are basic, some are more advanced, some are more category related. So we have gathered all those videos, and the users are just always available to use them.
Okay, super. Fantastic advice. Thanks again for the presentation.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Margus, I think we'll turn things over to you in Tallinn at this point.